Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by BASF, where you can count on the trusted performance of Allevo seed treatment to protect your soybean crop. And brought to you in part by Performance Livestock Analytics, helping cattle producers run more efficient cattle operations with real-time data on feed, health, and performance, all in one easy-to-use app. Powered by Soy Biodiesel, heading to the southern part of Allen County for week number 2 of Feeding Farmers in the Field. It's October 1, and for at least a couple guys, it's a big day. We're excited to welcome Ty Higgins back to the Ohio AgNet team. You'll be hearing Ty on the air soon, while I continue until retirement at the end of the year. It's good to be a part of the AgNet family, and even better to share it with you. And while the work is certainly not done, outgoing NCGA President Kenneth Hartman Jr. points to successful tactics that made for wins for U.S. corn growers in the past year, from winning a dispute with Mexico over GMO corn to the passage of important tax and farm program legislation. Hartman completed his term as NCGA's president yesterday, becoming then the chairman. Jed Bauer, a corn grower from Ohio, becomes president today, October 1. Congratulations, Jed. We'll look forward to seeing great things from you and your team as well. Today's weather brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
No change near term, sunny, warm, and dry. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin with that Ohio Ag Weather Update. I don't have anything new, exciting, and different for you, except for the fact that there is no threat of stop and harvest anytime soon here. We're going to put together a beautiful run through the rest of the week. Summer-like temperatures are dominant here. We are going to be taking temperatures and peeling them back a little bit next week. I think through the weekend we have nothing going on. There's a front getting close to us on Saturday night, Sunday night, and into Monday, but that front does not pass through most of Ohio until likely Monday night into Tuesday. A little bit of moisture with that, but most of it's falling apart, so I won't rule out some hit-and-miss scattered showers Tuesday morning to midday. The rest of next week, back to dry weather, but not quite as warm. We see cold air starting to advance across the Great Lakes for the weekend of the 11th and 12th. That will meet up with some moisture coming up from the southwest, so I'm looking for on-again, off-again scattered showers through about 75 to 80% of Ohio on Sunday the 12th. And then we follow that up with a cool start to the week of the 13th, although not a lot of moisture in that cool air. That's the way your forecast is stacking up. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Joel jumped in the cab in Logan County while they had the opportunity to harvest. Let's find out more.
Jumped in the combine cab with Sam Kinney of Kinney Farms in Logan County to talk soybean harvest. The takeaway, dry but still plenty good yields.
Harvest is going good so far. It's typical aches and pains at the starting operation, but we're moving forward every day. So there are 2.5 BA beans planted June 2nd, and right now they're averaging 53 bushels. So like I said, I want more, but I'll take it, I guess.
Their farm, like the rest of Ohio, saw the water spigot turn off in August. Would be curious to see if the water had been there, how one field of experimental soybean management would have turned out.
We side dressed them just like you would corn with the same applicator with liquid potash, thiazole, and a micro package. We're going to change the formula for next year where we didn't run out of water. They were 85 to 110. Where we ran out of water, they were 35. So all in all, the field averaged, one did 58 and one did 65. We're going to try it again next year if we can plant beans in April again.
And I did ask him, and yes, maybe looking at an irrigation system after a year like this, at least starting the conversation. You can find the full video of the Cab Cam online at ohioagnet.com. The Cab Cam series sponsored by Precision Agri-Services, Inc. I'm Joel Nortwood reporting.
And thanks, Joel. I'll check in with more from you coming up. Stan Smith, who is one of the main contributors of the Ohio Beef newsletter, reached out to us to let us know it's a forage quality issue this year within the state due to the weather. They offered free forage tests earlier this year and received about 180 samples. Only one of the samples test was high enough quality to support a 1,200-pound lactating beef cow, and only a few would maintain a gestating cow post-weaning. Stan said they will be highlighting forage quality at a lot of the upcoming events over the coming weeks and months. Oil prices fell for the second straight month and quarter on Tuesday, September 30th, amid concerns over a looming OPEC production hike and a decline in U.S. consumer confidence. a return of more than 200,000 barrels per day of northern Iraqi supply to the export market after a 2.5-year suspension is keeping the market a little bit jumpy. In crude oil, the New York MEX traded WTI for November delivery down $1.08 to $62.37 a barrel. The ICE Brent for November delivery retreated 94 cents to $67.03. After a brief rally last week due to geopolitical tensions and on mounting sanctions against Russian oil, crude prices tumbled again from Monday as reports emerged that OPEC was considering another production quota increase for November. Delegates from the 10-member Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, their allies from 10 other oil-producing countries, known as collectively as OPEC Plus, will convene Sunday, October 5th to decide, amid reports that their total quotas might rise by as much as 500,000 barrels per day over the next 3 months. The International Energy Agency anticipates that supply additions from the non-OPEC members alone are likely to outpace global demand growth this year and next. The speed with which the enlarged OPEC Plus group has returned barrels to the market so far this year has already had analysts expecting higher global oil inventories in the fourth quarter and throughout next year. Still, given OPEC's waning spare production capacity over the past 6 months, actual supply increases are likely to miss their lofty targets. In the United States, retail regular gasoline prices fell in the week ended September 29th after declines in the Midwest and East Coast as of Monday, September 29th, Energy Information Administration data released earlier yesterday morning. The national average for retail regular gasoline fell by 5.5 cents to $3.11.8 a gallon week on week and was 6.1 cents lower than the same week a year ago. The national average price for retail diesel fuel inched higher for a second consecutive week, rising by 0.5 cent to $3.75.4 a gallon. That was still 21 cents above the pricing from a year earlier, the Energy Information Administration stated. Now let's check back in with Joel Norwood with an update on beef performance.
We continue our look at technology on the beef farm with Ben Seifried of In Seifried Farms and Trucking in Western Ohio, and their experience with Performance Livestock Analytics and their product Performance Beef.
You have to put in your prices for your feed ingredients, and you got to put in, yardage and interest and all that. You got to put all that stuff in, but at the end of the day, it automatically just takes what you put in the bunk and it figures it all for you for all the groups that you got on feed. Whenever I treat cattle, I use the processing app. I'll write down the tag number and what shots I gave it or whatever. And it'll keep that record. You get to the end of the group, you can make out an invoice and say, man, I gave that group 500 cc's of Nuflor, whatever, and you can see that. And it's the same way. It'll bill all that medication straight to that group, and it all comes in your closeout report at the end. When you know that number that you have to have, it makes the back end a lot easier because the cards are in your hand. You know what you got to play.
More information online at performancelivestockanalytics.com. I'm Joel Norwood reporting.
And thanks, Joel. Powered by Soy Biodiesel on Thursday. Head down to Waterford, Ohio. Heritage Cooperative will have their FFA Day at the H-Plot in Waterford. And you can find out more. Follow Heritage Cooperative on social media for details. And the Jackson County Regional Livestock Market will be having a cow sale Friday at 6 p.m. and a cattle sale Saturday at noon. Check out the details at jcrlm.com, your livestock authority. Back with more after this.
Attention construction pros. Purple Wave Auction brings quality equipment to your fingertips. Join our bi-weekly online auctions featuring dozers, excavators, loaders, and more. We provide detailed listings, photos, and seller contact info. Inspect online or in person. With our no reserve policy, every item sells to the highest bidder. Visit purplewave.com today and see why informed builders choose Purple Wave. Transparent processes, real deals, your next great purchase awaits. purplewave.com.
AmeriHealth Caritas Ohio is your Medicaid plan for more benefits, more rewards. We know that good health means more than just seeing a doctor when you're sick. Eligible members can receive extras like home-delivered meals and family essentials, like baby carriers and kids' school supplies. Members can even earn rewards for playing mobile health trivia games. Learn more at AmeriHealthCaritasOH.com and call the Ohio Medicaid Consumer Hotline at 1-800-324-8680 to choose AmeriHealth Caritas Ohio.
Today's market analysis is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company. Excited to be building the newest state-of-the-art soybean crush facility in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. For marketing information of your beans to LDC, call 574-566-2113. Now with our analysis, here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished lower on the day and near the lows of the day after a USDA set of reports didn't really do anything to help us out of the current funk that the markets seem to be in. Taking a look back at the closes on Tuesday, we saw corn down 5 to 6.5, soybeans down anywhere from 9 to 10. Wheat markets were down double digits as well as in Chicago and Kansas City both. Let's get to that report yesterday. We did see NASS find additional grain supply. Shocking. Right? The expectation was for corn to be about 1.3 billion bushels on hand as of September 1. We end up with 1.532, up 207 million bushels from the WASDE forecast that came out in September. Wheat stocks pegged at 2.12 billion, up 130 million bushels. The gain in September 1st wheat stocks was due to a 2025 U.S. wheat crop of 1.985 billion bushels. 58 million larger than its prior forecast. The 2025 winter wheat crop yield was raised to 54.9, the second largest on a record. But what about the corn side? Well, here the key number to pay attention to was the one that we were fearful of, the feed and residual use number. It came in at 638 million bushels, down 208 million from last year, the lowest since 20 and 21. Now that is probably having USDA undercount last year's corn crop, but it hardly ever adjusts corn crop sizes. It looks like that's probably accounted for in the feed and residual use number. With that being down 208 million bushels, the additional 207 million bushels of U.S. corn supply came directly from that feed and residual use number. Corn yield for 2025 could drop to 184.4 without altering stocks, and that's what we're going to have to look for now. Did the USDA use this report to get themselves in a situation where they can lower yield and still not have to account for it anywhere else? That's the interesting talking point. I'm Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Today's market's brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Overnight at the open. December corn down a penny and 1/4 at 4.14 1/4 cents. March down a penny and a half at 4.30 1/2. May $4.40 down a penny and 3/4. November beans down 5 3/4, trading $9.96. January $10.14 1/4 cents, down 6, and March $10.30, down 5 3/4. December wheat, 5.05 3/4, down 2 1/4. July, $5.50, down a penny and 3/4. And September wheat is down a penny and 1/4 at 5.64 1/4 cents. In livestock, October cattle up 52 at 231.85. December up 95 at 234.77. And February also up 95 cents at 237.17. October lean hogs down $1.30 at 99.85. December down $1.62 at 88.72. And February down $1.60 at $90.30. Now the November feeder cattle, $359.35, up $5.47. January, $353.05, up $5.70. And March feeder cattle, $348.27, up $5.75. Quick story. Yesterday I went to Washington Courthouse for an update from Farm Credit. On the way back, came up 62 to 71 all the way to Mount Gilead. I was counting the number of combines that I saw in the field. I was really surprised. In that stretch of the road, there were only 3 that I could see from those roads working out in the field. It wasn't hard to hear some when we got home, but the bottom line is in some areas it's still going slow, and in other areas they're moving along pretty quickly. It'll look interesting next week when we see the latest weekly crop progress update, and again, we'll have those Monday afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, everyone. I'm Dale Menyo. This is the Ohio AgNet.